movement on it since we last talked about it.
Okay, but that bill was filed, correct? That is a filed
Yes.
bill. Okay. And I'm kind of crossing between the draft and the bill tracker, so
Yes.
apologies if I'm kind of
But we can-
intersecting those two things, but I think it kind of all goes hand in hand. I'd like to see a little bit more verbiage under our environment bullet points regarding coastal protection. Rob, does that also correlate to, I had read an article about some, I guess, bipartisan work around wanting to try to file some bills that would prohibit any sort of offshore drilling in the Gulf, and that had been a bipartisan between Congresswoman Castor's office, Senator Rick Scott, and Senator Moody. Can you speak a little bit about that? Is that in addition to this Coastal Protection Act, or is that the same or similar?
I don't know I've not seen any of the legislation that would outright prohibit it. There is a tension here, though, that we're seeing. You know, you have an administration that is very forward-leaning on continuing to loosen up restrictions on offshore leasing for oil and gas. We're seeing it in Alaska. We're seeing it all along the West Coast and Gulf of Mexico. So the question is, will that come around to the southeast coast? So it is an issue that the delegation and folks concerned about this need to be fighting on, because the administration is in real time opening up leasing in all other areas of offshore waters around the country. So this isn't a hypothetical.
Yeah.
But I will have to report back to you on sort of the link up of those between the Coastal Protection Act and some of the other sort of opposition specifically to the drilling.
Okay, and if we could include that as well in any sort of environmental bullet that we can put around coastal protection. Certainly understanding tourism is very important to our overall economy here in Pinellas County and St. Petersburg, and that could have a chilling effect if they expand the way they would like to. So I'd like to make sure that we're looking at that.
And I'll put both the coastal protection and the American Shores Protection, that's the Scott bill, on the federal bill tracker.
Okay, perfect. And then the only other thing I have for the bill tracker, we talked about the ACA tax credits. I don't think there's necessarily a bill, for instance, but would certainly like to see that on here. The Coastal Protection Act, as we discussed. And then Council also passed a resolution in support of the Flood Insurance Relief Act. There has been a companion bill, as I understand, that's been filed. So want to make sure that we have that on our bill tracker as well.
Okay.
Council members, since I kind of put the two together and talked a little bit about the bill tracker as part of the agenda, anything on the bill tracker that you all have questions on or want to see on the federal one, the one pager? No? Oh, Councilmember Fix Anderson.
Thank you. The only thing that we'll not really see, but I want to continue to monitor, and I know Ron talked about on the SNAP program through the end of January 2026, but I can only imagine that there's already conversation about extending and how and what that looks like, because I know it was signed last night, but a lot of people still were not happy with the version that we had. Has there been any future conversation, or no, current conversation, because I know the end of January did not suffice with a lot of people in response. Is there any conversation or other plans that we can do to continue to monitor this? I know we're tracking this, but I would love to continue to have a very active verbal conversation on this SNAP program, because I love the fact how many people rallied around in preparation to try to fill that gap. But I can only imagine that there are other bills and things that are getting ready to be filed. So I know it's on here, it's going to stay on here, and I don't know how often we're going to get an update on it, but that's one I really want to monitor over the next.
Yeah. So I'm happy to.
Remember.
Rob?
No, I'm sorry, ma'am. I just wanted to correct you respectfully. The bill that was signed into law last night takes SNAP benefits all the way through September of 26. So it is fully funded for FY 26, and it will not be. Yep, it will not be an issue in January. So that is current funding.
Okay.
But to your broader issue about SNAP reform and SNAP expansion, which is a separate issue, certainly that is an area where I think you would continue to see some activity in Congress. However, I don't think that's an area that the administration is very focused on. So it would encourage you to push on that, but realizing I think the issue is less on the congressional side, frankly, and much more with the Secretary of Agriculture and the administration.
And thank you. No, I'd rather for you to respectfully correct me than to think you're wrong, because I wrote down January. So yeah, no, thank you for that. I appreciate that. But that's all.
Okay,
So,
perfect.
Chair, if I just
Yes.
add to that. So the city, through the mayor, whatever structure under, is a part of the Mayor's Alliance to End Hunger. They sent out an update following last week, and I'm happy to share their most recent update and moving forward if all of council would like to get their updates. But they're doing a lot on the staff advocacy. Mayor Welch has signed on to some of their letters. We stay engaged with them as well. And I'll just quickly give you some of the updates that they shared, but I will share this email with you. Anyone who got partial November benefits, or the states, excuse me, that only sent out partial November benefits will need to, as soon as possible, send out the remainder of those benefits. That's really the immediate point. And then states that provided state-funded benefits this month will also send out the federal benefits. So we're going to continue to monitor that. The December benefits should go out without any interruption. And then we'll continue to stay engaged with them. They're also one of the big partners that when we talk about our advocacy at the state level for the summer meals program, they support us with information to stay engaged on that. So happy to share future updates from them with council.
Yeah, I just want to be current on that with what I'm understanding.
Yes, absolutely.
That's fine. Okay. Thank you, Chair.
All right. So there is a draft here. We are at the point where we could ask for some final revisions to come back at our January 29th meeting. Could approve it as is. I don't know for myself with what I had brought up and asked to have added. I don't know that I'm ready to necessarily vote on moving it forward today, but if there was a motion, I just wanted to provide that opportunity. Yes.
Sure.
Vice
I mean,
Chair
if,
Hannah.
I don't know if there is a need to do it quickly. If there isn't, that I wouldn't rush it
Yeah.
and just do the work.
Yeah.
So I think there's been some feedback, and if there, unless there is a need, there's.
No.
Yeah.
I think from our perspective, it would also be the timing of the next layer meeting lines up with when the government is supposed to be funded. So I think that interim period will give us some guidance of when we come back next time, if there's anything that needs to change on this.
Perfect.
Based on where we are. So I think there's
Okay,
any rush from our
perfect.
perspective.
Okay, good. All right. Everybody feel comfortable with that then?
Yeah.
January 29th?
Yep.
I didn't know if Tina had her hand up.
All right, anything else?
okay.
All right, well, thank you, Rob and David, for the
Thank you.
federal update. Thank you for continuing to do the good work in DC and continuing to smile through it all. We appreciate you. So thank you so much. So we're going to move on now to our more time sensitive, which is our current status in Tallahassee. So we are joined by Laura Beamer from the Southern Group. Laura, I'll go ahead and turn it over to you.
Thank you, Chair. I just want to start off by saying happy birthday to Doyle, because today's his birthday.
Happy birthday.
David's going to sing in a little bit. So current status in Tallahassee, the appropriations deadline in the House is approaching. It's next Friday. So meetings last week were dominated by budget talks. There are, the messaging that I'm getting from the House and Senate is to temper expectations. There was a tax implication with the Big Beautiful Bill. That's roughly $3 billion. If they adopt the code in its entirety, it'd be a $3 billion hit. If they adopt parts of it, it's about it'd be half, right? About $1.5 billion. So they're dealing with that on top of trying to also make cuts to make sure that the next 2 years and actually the next 4 years are intact based on revenue expectations. So That being said, we're still, going forward with our appropriation request. There still will be member projects, but I would expect to see some major cuts in, especially healthcare and education because they're the two biggest budgets. The other thing that's dominating the talks in Tallahassee, obviously, is property tax reform. As you know, the House began meeting their select committee on property tax reform in the summer. They have released 8 proposals so far, and the Senate, to this point, has released none. They're going through the normal process. Their Finance and Tax Committee will be contemplating any type of property tax reform. I've been told the only 2 scenarios that the Senate is currently looking at are an additional $50,000 to the homestead or an additional $100,000 to the homestead. They have not contemplated any of the House's proposals, and as we know, the governor at this point has not released a proposal as well. So TBD on all of that, but expect that to dominate the rest of the committee weeks and also going into session. I will say something's going to pass. We don't know what that's going to look like, but the House and Senate are very far apart on what they see as the end game here. So obviously we'll keep you updated as things progress. And then I would say the only bill that has really moved so far last week was sovereign immunity. It passed its first committee of reference. We still don't have a Senate companion filed, but that bill would increase the limits to 500 and $1 million versus 200, 300 now, right? Is that right, Jane? 200, 300 was now. So other than that, we're still having bills filed. The filing deadline has not passed yet, so we're still seeing bills pop every day. Still have no Senate Bill 180 fix filed yet, so obviously we're tracking that as well. And session starts the second week of January, so we have another committee week next week, and then we have 2 committee weeks in December, and then we start on the second Tuesday in January. So.
All right, great, thank you. Anything to add, David, before we turn it over to committee members?
I think that's pretty much it. If there's any specific questions on the track, we'll have that time. So
Okay, Vice Chair Hanowitz.
Thank you. And thank you for the update, Laura. I know you said SB 180 fix not filed yet, but is there anything else about SB 180?
I mean, we haven't seen language yet.
I can give you a quick update.
That would be great.
So I had a call with Senator Nick DeSigli this morning, and actually he shared with me that the 180 glitch bill, if we just want to call it that, is in drafting. Okay. And so that is moving forward. He is actively working on it. Some great stuff that he shared, but I don't want to, until it comes out of drafting, I don't want to, you never know what's actually going to come out of drafting. But yeah, some really great ideas that he has, and his commitment to making sure that those fixes are made. He is very strong in that. So I think we'll probably be seeing something maybe in the next week or so. When is bill filing deadline?
I think the bill filing is the first day of session, isn't it? Finally, the final bills in the House.
because I think the House and Senate have different.
They
Yeah.
stagger them.
Yeah, so.
Okay. Well, that's good to know. And
Yes.
maybe administration, I'm sure you've probably been having conversations, but, obviously those in our planning department and experts in their fields that can probably help with what the issues are having with some of the language to actually be able to do the work that they need to do in land regulation and everything else. Maybe they can also chime in before it goes out. So.
Yes, yeah.
That would
with
be
the
great.
Florida League of Cities as well, collecting all of that feedback from the cities we're locked in.
Good. That's good to hear. And then in terms of the other thing, which is property taxes, you said that the Senate's contemplating $5,000 or $100,000 addition.
Yeah.
500,000, 50,000 or 100,000 additional in homestead exemption.
Correct.
Now, is that just across the board or
Across the board.
across the board?
Right.
Okay.
That's the only thing they're studying right now.
Okay, and are they, when you say they're studying, are there going to be any studies in terms of what the impact is going to be?
That's what they're studying. So
Okay.
they've told me that they want to know what is the impact to, to our counties, to our rural communities. What are the real numbers when we
Okay,
something like this forward?
okay.
Yep.
Just because, and I know we've talked about it before, I believe based on the 2026 budget that we just recently passed, we were at 95.7 in terms of public safety spending for our tax dollars, and that is higher. It's at 97 point something at this point. So when I hear additional exemptions, that still hits us, and I'd be curious what those numbers look like for the city if they did something across the board, whether it's at 50 or 100, and what those numbers may be, so that way you have that information to give to them. Because my understanding is if they, at one point, eliminated property taxes on homesteaded properties, and if my memory serves me correct, Tom had said that would be a hit to the city of $82 million. If it was just homesteaded, yes. I don't know. And oh, look at Tom comes from
Disappears.
and he just appeared. Hi, Tom.
Good morning. Councilmember Hanovich, you hit it almost right on the head. I think it's about 83 million. If the entirety of the homesteaded properties were exempted from taxes, it would be about 83 million. Forecasting based on our tax year 25, which funds FY 26. So that number would grow depending on when it was implemented, but that's the number we're
Okay.
looking at.
And for those that are that are watching, that would not include properties that are second homes that are not homesteaded. So we still maintain that. And the total amount, by the way, that we receive for real estate taxes is about 223 million.
228.
228.
Again,
Look, I'm almost in the range. $228 million that we get from real estate taxes. So 83 million is if they got rid of homesteaded properties, and now we're looking at a difference. Now the Senate's thinking 50,000 to 100,000, and you could probably come up with those numbers.
And Ann and Erica and I have been looking at this, obviously, and so at 100,000, it's right at just a touch under $30 million impact at 29.9 million. So then at 50, it'd be half of that.
Okay, so it could be so even the Senate, considering the House proposals are probably a lot worse. Well, maybe not. I don't know. Maybe they're not a lot worse, but even at 50,000 across the board, we're looking at $15 million hit, and that goes to our public safety.
Correct.
A lot of it. 97 point something percent of it.
Correct.
Okay. I just wanted to put those numbers out there so for those that are listening and also are curious as to what the effect is on our government. I mean, we've just talked about the big, beautiful bill and the effects to the state, right? And how they're it's a, what is it, $3 billion hit? Mm-hmm. And now we're talking about another hit at the local level, and specifically to public safety. So, okay, thank you. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you. Anything else for Tallahassee? No? All right. Well, we will not have another meeting before session starts, but I anticipate that we will be up there with you and we will see you. And we just really want to thank you in advance because I'm sure it's going to be another incredible session one way or another, and all of your work that you do in Tallahassee for us. We just so appreciate. It's great to know that we have such a effective champion for the city of St. Petersburg. So thank you for everything you do, Laura.
Yes, thank you.
All right, administration, anything else?
Can I give a quick good news
Certainly
update?
can.
So, as you all know, we've been exploring all funding options. We'll give you a comprehensive update after this, but hot off the presses into the great work of Claude's team, Angela Miller, these two in Tallahassee. We got word that through the State Revolving Loan Fund, we were awarded $35 million for the drinking water program. So that's the Water Resources Potable Water Program. 17.5 million of that is in principal forgiveness. So that's essentially a grant. Additionally, in the Clean Water Program, Water Resources Wastewater Program has been awarded 19.2 million in loans with approximately 9.6 million in principal forgiveness. So that equals 27.1 million in forgivable, essentially grant money. Now there is an extensive application process. Those are due in March. We'll send you an update, but thank you to you all for your leadership, and then especially Claude and that team, and then these people back here, Erica and Ann and Tom, and then these two in Tallahassee. So wanted to end on that good news item, and there's been a lot of work that's gone into that over the last couple of months. So
And 0% interest.
And
on the other
0%
part of the
interest.
Even
loan.
better.
Yeah.
Love it. Love it, love it.
you,
Great.
Chair.
Thank you for sharing the success. Very much appreciated. All right. Anything else? Legal, do you have anything? Nope. All right. Well, thank you all so much. Started a little late, but we are ending a little early. So
Good.
we'll take it. All right. Meeting adjourned. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Chair.
Meeting adjourned, Katie.
I'm Leo Anderson, co-owner of Taste of the Island Marketplace and Restaurant, 2231 34th Street South. I'm a family man and also a minister. I've been here in St. Pete now 5 years, and I've been loving it. Life here is great. It's a great place to live, great place to rear my family. This year makes 30 years that my family's actually been running the restaurant business in St. Pete. Started into it with my uncle, who's my partner in the business, who had the restaurant already, so I kind of bought into the restaurant. The idea of the grocery store was always there. It's just that we fast-tracked it because this was empty and it was right beside. So, came in and started doing, the reconnaissance and what it would take to get the market off the ground. We have a very friendly atmosphere. We have a very, very welcoming family atmosphere. That's number one. We pride ourselves in treating people good, whether you're paying us or not. We want you to feel at home. From spices to ground provisions to just snacks. We bring in chips from Jamaica. We bring in a lot of drinks from Jamaica. We bring in spices from Grenada. We bring in fresh soursop, which is a highly sought after item from Grenada and from Dominica. We really try to take the stuff that we are used to on the island and bringing it into St. Pete and let people who have tasted it or would like to try it, they can come on over and indulge. From customer to the generals in charge of running the city and so on, we have felt the presence and we feel welcome. As I say, it's a love affair. We are here to stay, really, in St. Pete. 30 years already and we're just getting started because as you can see, what the family is trying to do is pass it from one generation to the next. And hopefully, God tarry, I'll be able to pass it to the next generation.
I want it to be fun. I want people to ask questions like, why are the cows flying? Why does the girl have two faces? All of my artwork, I want to hint at a story that you can fill the blanks in with. My artwork tells my story of navigating femininity, faith, and Latinidad through my painting. Having something that is gonna live on and that people will stumble upon, like, wow, this really is super cool. I'm Christy. I've always been an artist. It's never really been a choice that I've made.
I think a trailblazer is a person who looks at the needs of now without high regard for the status quo or the way we've always done things, but focuses their work on how you make our community better today and for generations to come. None of us stand on our own, and so in order for me to be elected mayor, there were so many folks in generations before me that had to fight even for the right to vote, or even for the right to be a full-fledged police officer like Leon Jackson. I just looked at myself as the next in a line of folks who are working to move our community forward. Without the Leon Jacksons of the world, I certainly wouldn't be in this position. And without guys like Bob Stewart, former city council member and county commissioner, who's one of my mentors, who served with both me and my father, you know, without those folks also pushing, we wouldn't be where we are today. You know, I attended the last segregated class at Melrose as a kindergarten student, that I'm able to go back to that and talk to those students as the 54th mayor of our city. That's a lot for one lifetime. As I go around the classroom, I do this for Great American Teach-In, and ask the kids, what do you want to be when you grow up? And the last time I went, there were 3 kids that said, you know, I want to be mayor, and one young lady who said she wanted to be president. That's what it's all about. It's just making sure kids understand you really can achieve. Progress doesn't happen without someone who challenges the status quo, the powers that be, and speaks up for folks who are largely silenced. There is such a thing as a silent majority, folks who are too busy putting food on the table, taking care of their kids or their parents, to be involved in the political arena. And so the folks that do that represent a lot of folks who can't be engaged. Find someone, reach out to someone that you admire who's made it, and reach out to them. Email, Facebook. I guarantee a lot of folks will actually respond to that. I certainly will if someone's interested in elective office. Reach out, make that first step. Never be bound by the status quo or someone else's opinion of what you can or cannot do.
Well, there were separate facilities. It was total discrimination, really.
It was just a second-classness that I wouldn't want to behold or be on anyone, because it wasn't humane. It wasn't human.
We African Americans could not eat at the lunch counters. We could not even sit on those green benches downtown. We were not treated equally as the white citizens in this city. In 1963, I was hired on the St. Petersburg Police Department. And when I went to work at the police station, I determined that the police department wasn't totally integrated.
The locker rooms were most definitely segregated. They were put in the corner. Patrol cars that they did have were the old ones, but maybe not in very good shape.
We African American police officers were always assigned to work in the African American neighborhood only. We could only investigate complaints from citizens of color. We could only arrest citizens of color.
You know, you're trying to enforce the law and trying to get respected or be respected, and you know, you're getting disrespected by the people you're working for.
In 1965, there were 15 African American police officers on the St. Petersburg Police Department. That includes 1 sergeant, 2 detectives, and 12 uniform officers.
They wanted equal responsibilities. They wanted to be able to police white neighborhoods like Snell Isle, like the Old Northeast. And they wanted to be able to arrest a white person and take them in without having to have an assist from a white officer.
So we 12 uniform officers started having meetings among ourselves at different one of our homes to discuss the racial attitude that was against us as a police department.
And at one point, finally, I think it might have been Fred Crawford who said, "The heck with it, let's sue them. If they fire us, they fire us." And that's actually where that nickname came from, you know, the Courageous 12, because every one of those guys put their jobs on the line when they decided to sue the city.
On March 31st and April 1st of 1966, we went to federal court in Tampa, and Judge Joseph Lieb ruled against us and ruled in favor of the police department in the city. That meant that we had lost the lawsuit. The NAACP agreed to file the appeal for us at no cost. On August 1st, 1968, the appeals court ruled in our favor, and we had won that lawsuit. When we won that lawsuit, we had different assignments. I'm the first African-American police officer assigned to work in an all-white neighborhood. It was 100% white. We were very proud and honored because we felt that we accomplished what our mission was set out to be. We were honored at City Hall City Council meeting on September 13, 2007. And they gave us the key to the city and a proclamation. And we really thank the city for what they did for us. I never dreamed that I would see a black chief of police here in St. Petersburg. They have one African-American chief now, and they had one previously black chief before. And it's part of what we was put that lawsuit for.
We want to make sure that when people enter our lobby now, we want to recognize the doors that you walk through are the doors that these Courageous 12 open for minorities here in the St. Petersburg Police Department.
Police department in the city put a plaque in the police station with all our names and our pictures on it, and a narrative let people know what we did to be honored.
I have put into place that every sergeant and lieutenant shall read the lawsuit, and they will be tested on it to make sure they are aware of what happened, so we make sure that never happens again.
What we did help these young men that come on the force now, that came on the force after.
I look around now, I see deputy chiefs, I see majors. It sort of makes you feel good.
That is the first 4 African-American police officers that were hired on the St. Petersburg Police Department in 1949. That's the Courageous 12. When I see these 12 faces together as unity, we was closer, just like brotherhood, that's what I think of. I'm the last one of the Courageous 12 left. And I think about those 11 other officers that are going on, because we were brothers. We were just like brothers. We were so close. And I am going to carry the banner on for those other officers that are going on. But I tell the younger generation to stand up and for what you got and what you believe in, and stand your ground and don't back down. And think about the Courageous 12 as what we did. We stood our ground and we did not back down.
has always been a passion of mine. My passion from food comes from my grandfather. It was really just born out of the fact that I believe that he wanted to show us the world, and he did that through everyone's different cuisines. So like we would have really elaborate holiday parties, and we would have like Thanksgivings would be all designated toward like a different country, and he wanted to introduce us to that country, and it was through their food. So one of the things, we had a Japanese spread. I was not vegan at that point, but just the art of the cuisine, I was able to like eat with my eyes, and it just made me fall in love with sushi. When I went vegan, I realized I couldn't have sushi anymore. So it kind of started with a cookbook, and I did a pop-up, and then we were sold out, and then I kind of just went from there. I just did pop-ups, markets, and festivals, and I started delivering sushi to people's houses, and it kind of just caught on. I thought to myself, it would be nice to have a place, like a home base, for everyone to come to me, and then also, again, give vegans the experience of what sushi is. Being in St. Pete, I feel like everything is happening on Central. I feel like Central is where a lot of businesses want to be. On a normal day, we would go through 4 pots of rice, and that was like a great day. And now coming to the new space, like we're going through like 8, 9, 10 pots of rice in one night, which is like, for us, is crazy.
Growing up, one of my biggest female role models was my grandmother. My grandmother was an incredible woman. She was hardworking, she was kind, she was sweet, but she was tough. And she really taught me from a very, very young age how important it is not only to work hard for everything that you want, but once you achieve those things, to give back to others.
When you look at who did I look up to, I have to say my mother was definitely the primary one, because she was actually able to take so little and provide so much. She taught me what fortitude was. She taught me what commitment was.
Even in this day and age, it can be really tough for women who are, aspiring to achieve their career goals or their own personal goals for their life. For those of us who are at this level, who have, accomplished some of our goals in life, we have kind of a responsibility to reach our hand out to that next young woman, grab her hand and pull her along.
Well, I think growing up, children learn from those who are around them. And even as they're babies, they mimic everything that their parents do and what they teach them. And I think having the positive role models that are necessary to make the right choices in life, role models are helpful.
Well, really, I think the sky's the limit when it comes to female leadership in our city. I think there is a day when we will have a woman in the mayor's office.
The future of female leadership in St. Petersburg is awesome. It looks bright. I am so encouraged. We take a lot of our lived experiences and we apply logical applications to making decisions.
I'm inspired and encouraged by the number of young women who are rolling up their sleeves, getting involved in their communities, and really stepping up to be true leaders.
There was a time where it was, when is there going to be the first female on city council? Then we got to, there's a supermajority of women on city council. And I think that question in terms of whether or not women can be a part of our city and whatever leadership position isn't a question anymore. Women do lead.
Women have such an important role in our culture.
And the future of the women in St. Pete has never felt brighter.
Mentor a young lady or find a mentor for yourself.
Be sure to honor the women in your life this month and every month.
It's hard to imagine a time before sunken gardens existed in St. Petersburg. You would have to go back more than a century to see the land as it once was, a sinkhole. In 1911, George Turner Sr. and his wife Eula purchased 4.1 acres of land 1 mile north of the emerging city center. Due to the sinkhole on site, the land sat 15 feet below street level. But George, a plumber by trade, had an idea. He devised his own terracotta tile system, effectively draining the sinkhole, leaving behind a rich, mucky soil. Perfect conditions for his favorite hobby, gardening. Living a good life with lots of luck in the Florida real estate world, the Turners were doing well. However, after a series of hurricanes and freezes in the area and the downturn of the real estate business in 1926, the Turners were soon left with just the garden. And to make ends meet, they opened a fruit and vegetable stand. Soon, neighbors began to stroll through George's tropical garden, enjoying an array of plants from around the world. In 1934, Mr. Turner began charging 15 cents to enter his subtropical paradise of royal palms, banana trees, coffee plants, and more. It's hard to imagine the old sinkhole site would become a natural paradise. For 3 generations, the Turners ran sunken gardens for almost a century, building a world-renowned attraction complete with beauty contests, celebrities, models, flamingos, and other exotic animals. A lot can happen in 100 years. Freezes, economic downturns, and a breed of new amusement parks opening close by. So, in 1989, the Turner grandsons put Sunken Gardens up for sale. And 10 years later, the residents of St. Petersburg voted for a one-time tax increase so the city itself could purchase the gardens. This tropical oasis still stands as one of Florida's oldest and last remaining roadside attractions. Thanks to generations of the Turner family's dedication, a community grassroots effort, and a bit of luck.
Today was a ribbon cutting for the Barack Obama Main Library in the city of St. Petersburg. I think it's a fitting tribute to President Obama and his commitment to education and knowledge, and it was really well received. I'm told over 1,000 folks came out here today, and just the joy and the energy from folks really reflected what St. Pete is about.
I could not be more excited. This is not just my district, this is my neighborhood. A big reason we chose this area was because we're so close to the library. My wife and I are avid readers. I'm really excited to be able to walk to such an amazing resource. It'll be full of programming.
I want the community, both our residents and our visitors, to wear the hinges out in this facility. This facility is so much more than just books. We've got 3D printers, we have engravers, we really have something for everyone at this facility.
You can tell there was a lot of attention paid to the small details, and that's what really makes a big difference. From the artwork that's on the wall to the flooring, just little things that when they all come together create magic, and I think that's what you see here.
After 5 years of having the facility closed, It is so exciting to be able to open this facility. I've had the privilege of walking through it numerous times, and to know that everybody that was in front of me was going to get to see it for the first time this morning, Christmas morning is the only way I can describe it.
The same moment I looked at the lake and the back doors of this library, a smile came over to my face and a calmness came over my soul. And I imagined generations to come finding a safe, unbelievably beautiful place to learn, to explore, and to grow. And in that moment, I felt the weight and joy of what this library represents to all of us here in the city of St. Petersburg, and a place of hope for our future. Thank you, and congratulations.
This is the municipal gateway to education. You can come here to learn to read, you can learn to socialize, you can get on a computer if you don't have something like that at home. It's really just an asset that shows high quality public goods can be delivered by your local government, and that's what we're doing here.
This library clearly has been designed not only for the way people are using libraries today, which is very different, but you can tell there was a lot of thought into planning for the future and how libraries will continue to evolve.
We're going to have the next leaders of our city and nation for generations start here at the main library, just like I did and many others did. So this is one of the best investments we can make in our city. Come down, get your library card, and build your journey to success right here.
Good morning, and thank you all for being here today. Despite the recent rain, it's still a beautiful day in the great city of St. Petersburg. And I'm especially glad to be here at one of our water reclamation facilities, ground zero, for some of the most important infrastructure improvements underway in our city. Let me begin by recognizing several of the leaders of our St. Pete team joining us today. On my westward side, council members, City Council Chair Copley Gertis, Amber Bolding, our emergency management manager, is with us as well, and she'll be saying a few words. We're also joined by members of our City Council. Thank you all for joining us this morning.